Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Advani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Thursday, April 25th. A possible de-escalation in trade war with China means escalating markets, at least temporarily. All three major indices closed regular trading yesterday in the green for another session in a row. The Dow added 419 points, or more than 1%. The S&P 500 advanced 88 points, or 1.67%. The Nasdaq gained 407 points, or 2.5%. Bill, let's get into Thursday's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes, good morning, Emily. Listen, I'm watching the S&Ps. We're down 0.14%. Okay, we did reverse course earlier this morning. I mean, we were down much heavier. We were down like, 0.4%. And then they turned and they went positive and we were up, 0.1%. And now we're negative. We're down 0.14%. Okay, so it's kind of a flat trading morning, which that's okay. And listen, the global trade talks, earnings and announcements, this is what the market is focusing on. And let's face it, in Washington, there's like an inconsistency from the messaging as far as what the tariffs are. I mean, Wednesday night, Trump said that he would be setting the new tariff rates on China in 2 to 3 weeks. He also said if there's no China deal, it's okay. And he also said that he's not considering changes to auto tariffs, but added that he could raise auto tariffs on Canada. So this is kind of different than what was expected, but okay. We're dealing with the news of the day. And, yesterday, Treasury Secretary Bessent, he outlined hopes for a big deal with China, yet Chinese officials have said that no trade talks are underway. See, there's the inconsistency. And, China does have their Politburo meeting scheduled for the end of this month. So they could do some stimulus there. That's a possibility. On the economic front today, though, we have jobless claims, got durable goods, we've got existing home sales. They're all scheduled for release. And the earnings reports, there's a lot of earnings going on. It's that time of year. It's a big earnings season. And they have been coming in better than initially expected. But the forward guidance remains concerning. I mean, we all know that. After the bell today, we got earnings reports from Google, T-Mobile, Gilead, and Intel. They're all scheduled to report. And then we're taking a look over at the global markets, and we're showing the DAX. The DAX is down 0.28% or 62 points. I mean, that's not bad. It was down more, so it's actually been rallying off of the early morning lows. I mean, there still are global trade concerns, but corporate earnings are in focus. The FTSE down 12 points or 0.15%. Okay, the CAC is down 18 points, 0.24%. Listen, same issue here. You're grappling with the lingering trade uncertainty and the latest round of earnings that have come out. And so looking over at Asia last time, we did see gains in the Nikkei in Japan. That index rose 170 points or 0.49%. Techs were higher, auto stocks were higher, and on a positive note, a second round of trade talks with Japan are likely to occur next week. That could be something. Hong Kong, the Hang Seng fell 162 points or 0.74%. Saw some weakness in consumer stocks, but China rose, flat. It was flat to higher, up 0.03%. Now, China is said to start issuing special sovereign bonds to cushion the economy from the rising trade tensions. That could be something that we'll get more on that when they come out with that Politburo announcements later this month. Turning over to oil, listen, we're seeing a little bit of a rebound in oil because remember, oil prices fell 2% yesterday. But this morning, we're seeing a bounce back. I mean, oil's up a little over 1%. You got WTI at $63.10 a barrel. You got Brent at $66.86 a barrel. The big drop yesterday was really caused by, the energy minister of Kazakhstan, who was newly appointed. And he came out and he said that, their country is going to prioritize its national interests over those of the OPEC cartel. I mean, listen, OPEC is going to be increasing their production volumes, next week. When they do that, oil prices, could weaken even further. We could break that $60 mark, but we'll have to wait and see. But Kazakhstan is, they're saying they can't cut their production. They have to. This is their new production rate. So this is kind of a divergence in the OPEC nations, which are always trying to be compliant with OPEC. But oil at the end of the day, oil's trading higher by more than 1% this morning, and that's what I have for in terms of a morning market update report, Emily.
Bill, no shortage of information to be watching today on this Thursday. You gave us a preview of a number of things, including those economic reports and a number of earnings reports. So we will get to the details. Now, let's start with that earnings action. Bill, what is going on there?
We're going to start off with Texas Instruments, which is ticker TXN, Tom X-Ray Nancy. They beat by 22 cents, and they did it on higher revenue. That stock is up 9.26% this morning. Then there's ServiceNow, ticker NOW, Nancy Oscar William. They beat by 21 cents. That stock's trading higher by 9.08%. So that's positive. IBM, they beat by 17 cents. They did it on higher revenue, and that stock jumped off of that earnings announcement. But this morning, it's pulling back. I mean, it's down to 5.97%. Not surprising. This morning we did get some other earnings announcements. Like Merck came out with their earnings. They beat by 8 cents on higher revenue. Look at Merck; it's up 0.77% this morning, less than 1/10 of 1%. PepsiCo, ticker PEP, Paul Edward Paul. They missed by a penny, but they did it on higher revenue. That stock's up 0.17% this morning. American Airlines, ticker AAL, Apple Larry. I mean, they also released earnings, and the report wasn't horrible. I mean, they beat by 8 cents, although it was still a loss. They did beat by 8 cents, and they did it on higher revenue. But the stock is trading lower. It's down 0.43% this morning. The issue is the guidance. They withdrew their full year 2025 full year guidance, and that's causing concern because the airlines are very susceptible, and travel is really coming in really weak these days, and that's one of the key points that came out of the beige book yesterday. But that's what I have for you in terms. Oh, let's talk about what's upcoming in earnings. After the bell today, we have Intel, ticker INTC. Their EPS is $1, or 1 cent, excuse me, 1 penny. Expected move is 8.50%. TMUS, that's T-Mobile, Tom, Michael, Uncle Sam. Their EPS is $2.45. Expected move is 4.97%. And Google, ticker GOOG, their earnings are coming out after the bell. EPS is $2.06. Expected move is 6.16%. There could be a big announcement here. Now, I expect their ad revenue to be solid, if not increasing, because of I think people have been pulling back down their ads on TikTok, and they're going to go to Meta or Google with their spend. So I expect the ads to be higher, but Google's got that weight of where they might have to sell Chrome, they may sell their advertising business. You just don't know, so it's very cautious going into earnings this afternoon for Alphabet, ticker GOOG, Emily.
And to keep track of all of that information, you're using your NewsWare, gathering those reports, especially that one from Alphabet, as you mentioned, using those earnings alerts. You also have alerts set up for economic reports and events. There's a number of interesting economic reports to note this morning that are definitely worth watching. So, Bill, give us a look at everything we should be watching when it comes to economic events.
8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we get the durable goods. Also at 8:30, we get the jobless claims. At 10 a.m., we get the existing home sales. Durable goods are expected to come in at plus 1.6%. Jobless claims expected to come in at 220K. Remember, last week's figure was 215K. And then, as far as yesterday's action, I mean, you got to think about the PMI composite. It eased to 51.2 from March's reading of 53.5, which is still above 50, so it's still positive, and that was good. The beige book, on the other hand, they indicated that the overall economic conditions remain generally positive, but with growing signs of, weakness, specifically in the international demand and travel and tourism. I mean, that's what it was showing. So I got to be a little concerned with that. So, you look at the airlines, you look at the hotels, and even the casinos. These are some of the stocks that typically, get hit when travel starts to go down, and that's kind of what we're expecting for the second half of this year. In terms of Fed speak today, we at 5 p.m. we're going to hear from Minneapolis Fed Bank President Neil Kashkari. He's going to be speaking, so that could be worthwhile to listen to. But that's what I have for you in terms of news hitting on the economic front, Emily.
Bill, what I find interesting is that you're able to really put all of these pieces of the puzzle together. So you're looking at data from yesterday, you're looking at that Fed speak, you're looking ahead to what data we should be watching today, combining that with earnings action and still market moving headlines that are coming out of different sectors and segments, using sort of an amalgam of all of this information to really create a picture of the trading day ahead and the overall, landscape of what we'll be trading in. And you're looking at things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, all using your NewsWare along with those earnings report alerts and those economic report alerts. So Bill, what else do you see as possibly moving the markets today?
Just doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 9 higher, 21 lower. My FANG stocks are mixed. Hard to kind of call a direction, but that's what the S&Ps are showing you. I mean, the S&Ps are now down 0.06, so they're coming back a little bit. In terms of news in the top report, there's a story out there on Amazon this morning, and it's a report that says AWS and NASDAQ are working together in an effort to overcome barriers to modernization. So this way, what they're saying is you can get some of the data, off of AWS of the NASDAQ data. See, I'm not on this bandwagon because I know for a fact that when you're grabbing data from, even a source like a web hosting service like Amazon, that creates a delay. It might be, milliseconds. It could be longer than that, but there's always a delay whenever you start introducing a third party. And that's why I'm not a big buyer of getting my data off of, I want to get my data from direct connections. I don't want to get them from a secondary source. And that's what AWS is. It's a secondary source. And you have a problem with AWS, you got to call them. Hopefully somebody's there to pick up the phone. I'm not a buyer on the cloud. I'm just not a buyer. It's fine for historical files, but for real-time data, no. Google, hey, we got earnings after the bell. There's a lingering threat of ad spending slowdown. Not a buyer into this, due to the TikTok issues going on. I don't think that's going to be a real slowdown. I'm more concerned with any corporate announcements they might have to do with shedding assets. That's what I'm really worried about with Google this afternoon. Tesla, ticker TSLA. What's fun here is the stock is trading flat to higher, and Tesla's new car sales in Europe dropped 28.2% in March from a year earlier. Wow, that's a big drop. That's like a third. Moving on to Dow Jones 30 stocks, we're talking NVIDIA. Alibaba and Tencent are said to have stockpiled billions of dollars worth of NVIDIA chips. Interesting. NVIDIA is trading higher this morning. Then we got Disney. Warner Brothers came out with a story about how they tweaked their model for their subscription model. And one of the things they said is their Disney bundle has really helped them to drive subscriber growth. That's positive for Disney. I mean, it just shows you the strength of the Disney brand. In terms of merger news, Jack in the Box, ticker JACK. Listen, these guys suspended their dividend, which, really is a real red flag. But they're also talking about selling their Del Taco brand, their Del Taco franchise. Remember, they bought Del Taco about 3 years ago. They're already considering selling it. So they did not do good due diligence when they bought out Del Taco if they're already considering the sale of it. That kind of scares me. In terms of guidance news, IBM sees Q2 revenue coming in $16.4 billion to $16.75 billion. Now, the street estimate had it at $16.3 billion. That's an uptick, even though, IBM shares are lower by 6.4% this morning. Texas Instruments, ticker TXN, Tom X-Ray Nancy, they see Q2 EPS coming in at $1.21 to $1.47. Street estimate has $1.20. That's a big uptick. Western Union, ticker WU, William Uncle, they see full year 2025 EPS coming in at $1.75 to $1.85. Street estimates $1.75, $1.78. That's kind of an uptick. I do like to see that. That's positive for WU. In terms of shareholders meetings today, we have Boeing, ticker BA, Boy Apple. They're having a shareholders meeting. It's supposed to start at 9 a.m. Johnson & Johnson, ticker J&J, they're also holding a virtual shareholders meeting today. That meeting's supposed to start, I see it 11:59 a.m., so let's say noon, but it says 11:59 on the report here that I have in front of me. In terms of buyback news, United Rentals, that's ticker URI, Uncle Richard India, they announced a 1.5 billion share buyback. Las Vegas Sands, LVS, Larry Victor Sam, their board announced a 2 billion share repurchasing plan. And AMP, Apple Michael Paul, Ameriprise board, they authorized an additional 4.5 billion for share repurchasing. Wow, that's a big one, AMP. But that's what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what is your pick of the day today?
Ticker SLB, Sam Larry Boy, Slumberjay, also known as Slob. Listen, earnings are out tomorrow morning. EPS is 74 cents. Expected move is 4.76%. That's not huge, but it does look positive. I mean, you look at yesterday's call volume, 10,701 calls traded against 5,372. That's not 2-to-1, but it is about 2-to-1. And then you look at the open interest, 410,473 versus 284,483. That's positive. And major brokers out there, and I do see them, doing, ratings upgrades. I see some price target updates. So, that is positive. So I do like Slumberjay. I want to get in, at the 34 area. If there's a downtick to 33.75, that would be wonderful, but I don't think that's really going to happen. So low 34s is really kind of what I'm thinking. But that's my pick of the day. Slumberjay, ticker SLB, Sam Larry Boy, Emily.
SLB it is today, and we will follow that along with you. And coming up, we're going to do a recap on yesterday's pick of the day, which is sort of a post-earnings pick. We'll see how that one worked out. But first, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our Hot Off the Press segment. Bill, take it away.
News out on Truth Social. Trump says, I'm not happy with Russian strikes on Kyiv. Okay, yeah, I'm not surprised. Not necessary, very bad timing, Vladimir. Stop. Put stop in all caps. There's no way. I see that they're going to come out with a peace accord between Russia and Ukraine. I don't see that happening anytime soon. PepsiCo not feeling as good about the consumer as it was 3 months ago. That's chief financial operator. Thermo Fisher, ticker TMO, Tom Michael Oscar. They're going to invest $2 billion in U.S. manufacturing. Interesting. It's positive. Stellantis, Factorial Energy announces validation of best battery cells. Interesting. Wyndham Hotels, ticker WH, they're going to be introducing their Super 8 brand in Spain and Portugal. ADSK, Autodesk and Starboard enter cooperation agreement. SAH, Sonic share slide after company pulls 2025 targets. Yeah, I'm not surprised companies are pulling targets. Trump may impose tariffs on heavy-duty trucks. Some car makers could get relief. Trump administration weighing exemptions for some Chinese auto parts, sources say. THS, Treehouse Foods, are said to be holding a virtual shareholders meeting today, 9 a.m. American Airlines pulls 2025 profit forecast as Trump tariffs cause demand uncertainty. Yep. Procter & Gamble PG, they lower annuals forecast as trade war hits consumer demand. The thing is that the drugs like the pain relievers, Tylenol, whatever, those are the ones that those prices are going to spike later this summer. Alaska Airlines, ticker ALK, on Wednesday, they withdrew their full year forecast. Citing the macroeconomic uncertainty. Hasbro, ticker HAS, the Plato owner, said it would not change its annual forecast given the uncertainty related to tariffs. It's not changing its annual forecast. That's interesting. Southwest Airlines, ticker LUV, they also they were the latest carrier to withdraw its financial forecast as the Trump trade war has really created the biggest uncertainty in the industry since COVID-19. Yeah, it's true. Boeing, the plane makers, looking to resell potentially dozens of planes locked out of China by tariffs after repatriating a third jet to the United States rather than storing it without willing buyers. Yeah, they're going to be able to sell those planes. Remember, they got they got billions in aircraft orders. So yeah, people will take that plane. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we get to trading on this Thursday, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was Boeing. You did just give us that headline about the resale of those planes. So continuing to watch Boeing hit the news. And yesterday in markets, early gains kind of faded slightly by the end of the day, even though we did end in the green. And Boeing remained pretty consistent. As you pointed out on yesterday's show, it was up pretty big since their positive earnings report, but it had been unusually weak. So you thought maybe you could still be able to get in this one a discount and see a little bit of a gain. How did your call work out?
I mean, it did work out. I mean, listen, the stock opened up at 174 and it did at a high of 176.58 during the trading day. My entry point was 169.20, and it did dip down like I was thinking it would in the morning, but it only dipped down to 169.91. So I was about 70 cents off of the entry price, but that dip hit before the stock ran to 176.58. So yeah, it did work out. I mean, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if it turns higher today. I mean, listen, they're going to be reselling those China planes. That's positive news. They got the shareholder meeting going on today. There could be something going on there. That starts in about, starts at 9 a.m. So, we could have some positive comments out of Boeing. The stock's holding. I mean, it's only down 0.2% right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Boeing turn around and show some green later today. But that's where, at the end of the day, Boeing, winner yesterday. But winner. Very happy.
A winner there, Bill, and maybe one to keep watching. And we will also watch today's pick of the day, Slumberjay, and we will check in with you tomorrow about how that one works out. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow to end your trading week with NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.